Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by your local Ford store and Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me here in the Xfinity mobile studio is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, coming to you live from the PPL Center, the site of tonight's rookie series game, Flyers Rangers. 4th year in a row they're doing it here, and I haven't been up in the press area in a while. It's really cool. Really happy to be able to do this today. It's exciting. Charlie, you were here last night. What's going on, my friend?
I was. It's a great location. We got the banner in the background.
That's my first
pretty
pro
cool.
sports championship that I witnessed live right behind me, the 1998 Calder Cup Championship.
It's pretty awesome. No, this is great. It's great to be here, and it's been a fun weekend so far. I've been up here since Friday afternoon, covered last night's game, and now I will be covering tonight's game. But before that, we got about an hour and a half's worth of quality Flyers content for you, starting with the 4-3 overtime victory last night from your Philadelphia Flyers rookies.
Tremendous game. We're going to get into that. We have John Snowden, Phantoms' new head coach, joining us. We're going to have Director of Player Development Riley Armstrong with us. Maddie Campbell will be here to talk about last night's game. The Phantoms owners are going to be here. It is going to be a really, really great show. Patrick Sharp, special advisor to Hockey Ops. It's going to be really great, but we got to backtrack. We got to hit last night, and we got to hit the big takeaway presented by Xfinity. Charlie, 4-3 overtime. 4-3 overtime win last. O-time.
O-Town, O-Time.
Yeah, it's making the band O-Town.
Exactly.
Jeez, we're off the rails. We're 2 minutes in. Last night we get the game, goes to overtime. Flyers rookies win it. Seemed like a great game. I was able to catch most of it. What were your big takeaways presented by Xfinity?
Big takeaways. Well, I give the Flyers rookies a lot of credit because they fell behind quick. They were down 2-0 early.
Right away.
Carson Bjarnason very clearly was showing some rust. The first goal I wouldn't say was terrible. It was stoppable, but it wasn't terrible. Second goal, you got to make that save. And they go down 2-0. Easily could have went off the rails, but they settled down. They had a really good second period. They go into to the third period, still down 3-2. They had briefly tied it before the Rangers took a 3-2 lead. Third period was back and forth. They find a way to tie the game. Great play by Devin Kaplan to set up Jacob Gaucher for the game-tying goal. And then Nikita Grabenkin.
Grabby, baby.
What a personality he has. He is going to be a fun guy to cover. He scores the game winner off a nice drop pass from Carson Dorwart. I would say, as John Snowden, we're going to talk to him in a few minutes, said, there were a lot of standouts in this game, but there were a few guys that really jumped out at me. Number one being the guy that I wrote my post-game column about, Denver Barkey. As good as Alex Bump was, and he was very good in this game, I think he was impressive. Didn't score any points, but I think he popped on most of his shifts. Denver Barkey, to me, was the most impressive prospect in this game for the Flyers, and that's exciting because he's one of those guys where there is a lot of excitement around Denver Barkey, but there's also concern about whether he can translate his high-scoring game from the junior game to the NHL, to the pro game, given the fact that he still is a very small player, and players his size don't often click at the NHL level.
It's an outlier if you do it.
There's a lot of guys his size, his profile, who bust. And, hey, we don't know how he's going to be. But I can tell you last night, he did not look like a guy who's going to bust.
He did not look like a guy who had issues with pace. He did not look like a guy who couldn't handle the professional size translating his game. We've talked about, is he going to need to be one of those Scott Lawton types where, okay, it's going to be a little bit of a project for him to kind of change and become a different kind of guy. Last night, he looked like that. He looked like that dynamic player we saw with London. And I told you this, and it's just funny to me because last night, it's the first rookie game. These guys have been on the ice together for a couple of hours, maybe. I have a friend calling me last night who's telling me, Barkey's Giroux. It's true.
I love Flyers.
He had a few drinks in him, and he was just trying to tell me that this kid's going to be a star. And I will tell you, this friend, he did call Werenski over Provorov.
Ooh.
That was his. And listen,
it was got a little track record.
It was a decade ago. His last win was a decade ago. But hey, we all have to celebrate our victories. But I do love how I love this every year because we get a little bit of a preview and we get that a little bit of excitement. I love being here. Just
Yeah.
the smell of that rink. I'm sure you've missed it, Charlie.
Oh, we're back. We are so back.
We've never been more back.
Never been
than
more
we
back.
are here at the PPL Center. Guys who stood out to me last night with Nesbitt, but bump into Amala.
Yeah.
Extremely noticeable. Now, Tuamala, 2 full AHL seasons under his belt.
Should be
You
noticeable.
would want him to be noticeable, and he very much was. Alex Bump, another guy okay, how is it exactly going to translate? It's a new level now. Well, at least in the rookie game. Yeah, he is everywhere. I think it was Jason Martinez last night on the call said it looks like he's playing both wings. Like, it looks like he's on both sides. They were just Yes, Jason's right here. That's why I pointed at him. He's off camera. But he just seemed to be everywhere, creating havoc down low. He and Tuamala on the forecheck, and that's something I was really impressed with Tuamala. We saw maybe a little bit of that feistiness we've said he needs to add to his game.
Yeah, Maddie Campbell did a recap breakdown of the game up on allphly.com. Check that out if you're a diehard. If you're not a diehard, become a diehard. But Maddie pointed out in her breakdown, in her observations, that with Tuamala, she's obviously watched Tuamala a ton. He's been with the Phantoms for multiple seasons. She's seen him play a lot. So she's seen the speed. She's seen the skill. She's seen the shot. But what he showed last night that maybe hasn't been a big part of his game, at least at the AHL level, is that little grittiness. That
winning some battles on the boards.
He was playing more physical. He was mixing it up after whistles. He was coming to teammates' defense. And that speaks to what Brent Flair told me a few weeks ago about how Tuamala has to find a way to fit on this NHL team long term. If he's going to be a flyer, if he's going to stick and be a flyer, he's not going to play over Matvei Michkov or Travis Konechny. He's probably not going to be a top sixer. So he needs to adapt his game to be more of a third liner, maybe even a fourth liner, a guy who can play in the bottom six. And you can't be a bottom sixer if you don't have any sandpaper to your game. And we saw tonight that clearly Tuamala is taking that message to heart, or at least it seems like he is, because what you're doing at these rookie games, it's as much a performance for the brass and the coaches as it is trying to win a game. You are trying to impress them, and you are trying to show them that you're listening to their feedback.
I did the work.
And you're making the adjustments that they want you to make, because all of this is about these guys trying to eventually become NHL players.
With Alex Bump, Tuamala, impressive. Alex Bump, his line mate last night, man, he's fun. He is as advertised. I want to see him get some time with Michkov this year. And, we've said things are going to move around plenty.
Even if he doesn't make the team out of camp, he's going to get time in the NHL this year. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Really feels that way. He still has, he likes to carry the puck into the middle. How's that going to go? Again, at least in the rookie game. Oh, it translated. He's just another one of these guys who's like, puck too dangerous area. How can I make it happen?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what they need, that little bit more aggressiveness on offense. And I think we've heard Rick Tocchet say they want to be a possession team. Yeah, I think he can help in that.
Yeah. He looks pro-ready, to be sure, and that makes sense. He played a little bit in the AHL last year, to be sure, but I liked his elusiveness. I liked the way he was pulling pucks off the boards and taking it into more dangerous areas, whether it was winning a battle or whether it was just avoiding a checker. He was showing, because he's not a bad skater, but he's not a burner. He's not a skater on the Tuamala level. But if he can be an elusive skater, if he can get separation just by being smarter and working harder than the guys he's against, that's going to work at the NHL level. And that's how you succeed, despite the fact that you don't have plus skating ability.
Now, with the center of that line, we saw Jack Nesbitt last night, and you tweeted, you mentioned, like, okay, he's kind of in a support role here, especially in the offensive zone. And while, he's not as polished as the other two, the way they were forechecking and the way that they were wreaking havoc down low, it's not as if he really had a choice, but to basically be F3 and be just kind of be that support guy. But he definitely, I thought, was impressive. I didn't think he was just a passenger on that line.
I thought he made a lot of good plays. I thought there were a couple times he was doing this little sidestep in the offensive zone where he was more, it wasn't a full-fledged dangle, but he was legitimately gaining separation just by making a little quick move and fooling the defenseman. I thought he was really impressive. He surprised me at how effective he was, despite the fact that you can see how much work he still needs to do on the skating side. He was finding ways to impact the forecheck. As you said, he was really good as the F3, as the high man in the offensive zone, just finding ways to be there when the puck got there and finding ways to keep cycles alive. Nesbitt to me was very impressive, and the exciting part is you watch him and you're like, he's good at so many things. If he just gets the skating better, how good can he become?
All right, and now we are excited to introduce our first guest today, Charlie. We have a jam-packed schedule full of guests here, and here he is. We have our very first one. It's new Phantoms head coach John Snowden joining us. John, got your first win in the organization. How you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. Obviously, it felt good, and just to get back to hockey and starting to put our product of what we want it to look like and moving forward for the organization. It was a good win. I never had a doubt at any point in the game. I thought we controlled a lot of it, and we had a lot of guys that showed well last night.
So how has your introduction to the organization been? There's been some turnover throughout the organization, new head coach at the NHL level and now at the AHL level. How you getting acclimated?
Oh, it's been very easily and seamless. Just the organization in general, they bring you in, they welcome you, they treat you like family. Everybody's willing to talk and pass ideas around between each other, and I don't think anybody is in a space where it's like, no, this is the only way to do it. Like, everybody's so open, and the dialogue of where we want the direction for everything to go it's pretty seamless and been really easy.
John, we talked to you after the game last night, and you singled out a few players that you thought were specifically standouts. The first guy you mentioned was Denver Barkey. We had a little back and forth about him, but I guess with the benefit of a night to kind of sleep on the game, why do you think he was able to be as effective as he was last night?
I just thought he was incredibly competitive. He never quit on any puck. His brain for the game is so smart, so it puts him in spots where he doesn't have. He's always ahead of the play, right? I thought defensively he was disrupting plays, which then gave him opportunities to spring and get going up the rink quickly. When he got into the O-zone, he won so many puck battles just using his leverage, and everybody worries about his size, but his competitiveness and his brains of how to manipulate bigger players and to get under their hands and get himself out of things quickly, and and then just his stick disrupts a lot, and he gets pucks from behind because he never quits on anything, and then he transitions it quickly back into offense. I thought he was so good last night. I thought there's so many areas of the game I don't have enough time to talk about it with the way he played. I thought in my eyes last night.
Now, you spent a couple of years as the assistant to Anne LaPerriere. Now you've stepped up into the big seat. I realize it's only been a few days that you've actually had the guys on the ice for rookie camp, but what's been the biggest change now that you're at the top?
Well, everybody asks me questions. That's the biggest thing.
You have to talk to us. Yeah.
No, and just the day-to-day process of, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? The trainers, just making sure everything's scheduled on time. And it's a big thing for me. It's just making sure that we're prepared and for every single situation that comes. I mean, we have to have plan A, B, C, and D. And if all those fail, we got to make sure we have X, Y, and Z ready as well. And then making sure everybody understands what that looks like. We have a completely new staff here with my staff, and just kind of working out the kinks. We've made some changes in the room on how we want to present things to the players, and then just our workflow together. So it's been a little bit of a change on that. I've done it before. I've been a head coach before, so I have my methods in the way that I like things to be done, and obviously working under Ian for the past 2 years and seeing how he operates, and he's very organized, and he builds a great culture in the room, and it's my job now is to just improve upon what it is and keep building and developing the players that we need to get ready to make the next step.
Another guy I wanted to talk to you about, he obviously entered this camp with a lot of buzz, a lot of hype, Alex Bump. Didn't get on the score sheet, but talking to you after the game, it seemed like you were very happy with how he played. For fans who, maybe were hoping to see him, pop in a couple goals and look at that and be like, oh, this is where we can get excited. Why did you like his game as much as you did, despite the fact that maybe he wasn't rewarded on the score sheet?
It's hard to score, and it's hard to produce offense, and they have 5 guys on the ice that have something to say about it as well. And he's not a surprise coming into the game. I think everybody knows, what he can bring. But what I liked about him is that he won a lot of puck battles on the wall. He got out of some situations where he might have had 2 guys around him, and he was able to win the battle and get himself out and extend the next play. We all talk about his interior mindset of how he gets to the middle of the rink. He had some really good entries where he attacked the middle of the rink, and he's looking to distribute off of that. I thought on the power play he had a lot of pretty good looks on that, where he probably could have scored on 1 or 2 of those. And then he delivers a couple shots, and then he gets the D to freeze and he uses a goal line. We get a quick couple strikes off of that. But overall, I just thought his pace, his competitiveness, he was around offense. I thought their line could have scored 1 or 2 goals in the game. They just couldn't find the back of the net. And that's just this early part of the season where they might not have the touch yet, right? And but overall, like, I thought he impacted the game in a positive way every time he was out there. And every time the puck hit his stick, something was happening, in my opinion.
Talking about the players as a whole, you mentioned last night that you felt like there wasn't enough time to talk about all the guys that you thought stood out.
Yeah.
Are there players that maybe they didn't have a bad game, but that today you maybe want to see a little bit more from?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't single anybody out in those situations. I think there's some players that might have to have a little bit more of a presence when it comes to who they are and what their makeup is, maybe stick their nose into a couple things and scrums around the net or keeping guys off of our net. But overall, like, I thought everybody was good for their first game. I didn't, was everybody excellent? I wouldn't say everybody was excellent, but I think as a totality of a team, I thought we had, 18 skaters that were really good in the game last night. And at some point in the game, they made an impactful play or they made something that, we could all say, like, okay, there it is, And I wouldn't single anybody out. I think there's probably a couple players that would think that they want more. And there's a couple players thought they were really good and maybe we didn't think they were as good as they were. But, that's just that part of the year that we're in right now.
So rookie camp opens 2 days ago. You have a few hours on the ice. Now there's some Phantoms out there, some guys you're familiar with, but a lot of brand new faces and line combinations. How challenging is it? What are you doing to, like, coaching on the fly on the bench just to get everyone kind of on the same page? How challenging is that?
It's tough. I think messaging for us was just compete. Like, the biggest thing is I understand, we all understand as a staff and as people watching that there's going to be mistakes. Like, there's going to be a lot of mistakes and we're going to make bad reads and we're going to, just take that third goal, for instance. Like, it's a second period. We have a bad puck and a bad change and it ends up in our net after we had pretty much controlled the entire period, and that's the part of the year that it's in. So, I thought they grasped the concepts. I thought, as a whole, for how much we threw at them in a short amount of time to just get them organized. So if they're organized on the ice, they can feel a little bit more free because they at least know, okay, this is where I have to be. Now I can just play from there. I thought that they did a good job, but they handled it. And it shows just the hockey IQ of the players that we're bringing into the organization is to be able to take a ton of information in a short amount of time and then execute it, I would say 75 to 85% good in the game for myself.
This is more of a bigger picture question, but one of the obvious push-pulls of being an AHL coach is you want to win. You're a competitive guy, but then there's higher organizational goals in terms of development that the parent organization wants you to achieve. How do you plan to go about finding that balance between winning on the ice but also developing the guys that need to be developed?
Well, I think you can do both at the same time. And I think it starts with your plan and development. And if you have a good plan and you have a good focus in where we're going to go with our development process, I think it lends to team success, right? Like, if you develop players the right way, you're going to win games. And when you have talent and develop players the right way, you're going to win games. I think we all saw we have talent last night. Like, there's a lot of talent. There was a lot of plays that were made. And it's our job now is to make sure that we develop them the right way, teach the structural stuff that we need to teach them, make sure everybody understands the systematical play that we need to have. When it starts with the Flyers, then it rolls down into us, and then it rolls down into Reading. So anytime someone moves up and anytime someone moves down, there's no in between. They can just go play, and they can continue to grow as their player, and that's going to help their development. So I think at this level, like, if you take this job at this level, you have to understand you got to find a way to do both. And I think it can be done. And I believe that we have the right plan in place to do that.
All right, John, thank you so much for your time and good luck this season.
Thanks.
Real quick before we let you go.
I tried.
Sorry. Just lineup changes. Are you able to tell us who's coming in and who's coming out?
Yeah, I think we have a couple things that we're just waiting from just like the medical team. But we might have a couple, I'm trying to think. Barkey might not be in tonight just to give him a day. I thought he did a great job last night. We have Quinn that we can get into the lineup that we'd like to see play. But we're wrestling with it right now, making sure we have all the things in order for that to come out here shortly.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay. All right, John. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
yes.
thanks, guys.
All right, that was new Phantoms head coach John Snowden just a couple of hours before the Flyers rookies take the ice for night 2 of the rookie series here at the PPL Center. And before we go any further, we got to take our first break. We all have that friend. They want to make their place the place to be on game day, whether you're watching the puck drop, whether you're watching the Birds on Sunday, whatever it is. They have the bar, they have the food and everything. But if they don't have Xfinity, that big fan is kind of fan fishing you. If you call yourself a sports fan of any kind, you got to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place, and the way I watch is next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right in my living room. Plus, Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K is so clear, it feels like I'm in the arena. We actually are in the arena today, but if you're not, you got to be watching on Xfinity. Sometimes I can even get 4 games going at once, because if you have the quad box, you might as well use it. On top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right on my television. It's the best seat in the house every single time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K-capable TV box. And now it's time to tell you about the Ford Explorer. It's America's all-time best-selling SUV. It's got a legacy of family trust and performance, and now it offers 3-row seating for up to 7 passengers, great for families and road trips. You don't want to go on a road trip without that third seat, and you definitely don't want to be taking the family. You're out on the road forever, and suddenly, the kids are fighting. You can separate them. Extra row. It's outstanding. It's packed with Ford Copilot, a suite of advanced driver assist features, and it offers up to 87.8 cubic feet of cargo space with rear seats folded down. And the rear seat passengers get available captain's chairs for extra comfort and accessibility. It's built for families, but ready for adventure. A true do-it-all SUV. For more information, visit your local Ford store.
Well, William,
we did it.
We're
Okay.
back.
That's one segment down, one ad break down.
One segment down. We obviously just talked to head coach John Snowden, Phantoms head coach. He's also running the bench for these rookie games. Interesting stuff from him, I would say. Not that surprising to me that they're more or less giving Denver Barkey the pat on the back. Like, all right, kid,
all right, bud.
You played well. We don't need to see any more from you.
And we did. We have seen him. He wasn't on the ice at Dev Camp, right? And
right.
It's kind of been you had the long OHL season.
Yeah, well, he had the high ankle sprain that knocked him out for a lot of the OHL playoffs. Came back from the Memorial Cup.
Yeah,
but yeah, it does seem like they're just taking it easy with him. But to me, this is more. If you remember, they didn't play Michkov in both games last year either. He had the really good first game, and then they're like, "Yeah, that's fine. We've seen everything we need to say.
We're good."
So, but it seems like Nathan Quinn's going to be coming in for him. He wasn't willing to tell us about defense, so I guess they're still maybe trying to make that decision on whether Oliver Bonk will come back in the lineup. He did not practice yesterday. They said it was a maintenance day, but we're all hoping that we get to see Bonk in at least one of these.
That was when you asked for the lineup changes, was hoping to hear the name, but it sounds as if it's still a. Yeah, we're gonna say sort of thing.
Fingers crossed. I believe Jackie Spiegel this morning reported that it seemed likely he was going to play. So I was hoping we'd get the confirmation on the show, but we're still waiting on that.
Yeah, so we will when we find out, we will let you know as we are live here. Just a few hours. What is it? A 5:05 puck drop tonight?
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, so we'll have that information if we get it. We will pass it along to you. But I'm excited. I'm excited to actually catch some Phantoms games this year. We were talking earlier, like it feels like there's more interesting prospects than there have been in a long time that are actually going to play in the AHL.
Yeah.
Guys at different points in their development, so maybe they'll get NHL time. Some will, some won't. But the Phantoms actually have a pretty interesting roster this year.
They do, and you saw it last night just in some of the guys who shined. Like one guy, and it wasn't all good. There were a couple bad plays he made, but one guy who I thought was impressive in the game was Ethan Sampson. And he's a guy. He
took a hit at one point.
He did. That was one of the moments that wasn't that good. He took a big open ice hit up at the point in the first period, but thought he looked really good on the power play, just being calm, moving the puck well with some really talented guys on that top unit. And he probably wouldn't even have gotten that opportunity if Oliver Bonk had been able to play. I would guess he was probably slated to be the power play one defensive guy up top. Instead, Sampson gets a chance. I thought he looked good. He's spent 2 years in the AHL, so as you said, different points in his development. He's going into his third year in the AHL. He's going to be trying to prove that he deserves an NHL shot in comparison to, guys like Kaplan, guys like Barkey who are getting their first full-time taste of the AHL. I mean, hey, maybe Barkey shocks everybody and earns his way to the NHL roster, but you're right.
Anything's possible.
There's guys in different places in their development, and it will be fun to track this team. Makes me really happy we got Maddie Campbell covering this team for us here in Allentown all season long and writing great articles for us at allphly.com.
Our AHL correspondent, Maddie Campbell. If you're not a diehard, that's what you're missing out on, stuff like that. Charlie, someone I wanted to bring to your attention because I want to see if you notice it, because we had a conversation about Hunter McDonald the other day.
Okay.
And how with the Ristolainen status up in the air, it would be nice to have that element on the blue line. And we, have tabbed Hunter McDonald as one of those guys for a while, but there's one problem. He's left-handed.
Right.
Risto's a righty. Played some time on the right side last night.
I did not catch that. You dropped that in our outline. I'll have to watch that for this game as long as he's in the game. But I did think it was interesting. We asked John Snowden about things, players that maybe he was hoping for a little bit more from, and he wasn't willing to name names, which fair. But you did hear him sort of say, we might need guys to be, boxing people out a little bit better. I didn't think Hunter McDonald was great. I didn't think he was bad. I didn't think he had a bad game, but I didn't see that meanness, that nastiness as much as I wanted to see from him. So if he gets in this game, because it's not a guarantee, they are probably going to make some swaps on defense, but if he gets in this game, I just want to see him being a little bit more assertive physically and showing that he can bring that aggression, can bring that intimidation a little bit more than I saw last night.
Yeah, and now we are introducing our next guest as he makes his way over to us, the Director of Player Development here in the Flyers organization. It is Riley Armstrong. Great to see you, Riley. How are you today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, thanks.
Very well.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
No
really
problem.
appreciate you taking the time. My first question, it's something I've wondered for as long as I've been doing this. What's a Director of Player Development? What exactly is your role in this organization?
I think I wear a lot of hats.
Me too.
It goes with, as soon as a player is drafted, they kind of come under my wing. And it's not just my wing, it's the whole staff of John LeClaire, Patrick Sharp, Sam Moran, Chris Stewart. Wayne Simmons is helping out. Mark Recky's now in the fold a little bit too. And we all play a part in trying to get these guys ready. And it's not necessarily just the on-ice play. It's how they grow up being away from the rink. And when they come to Lehigh or they make the Flyers and they're getting their first apartment or they're buying furniture, setting up their cable and they're, paying bills and setting up bank accounts and all that. We try and assist in all that type of stuff just so the noise away from the rink is low. So when they get to the rink, they're able just to play hockey. And, it's just – being around, being just around the guys and making sure they're taken care of.
Moving to the games this weekend, obviously the game last night, they win 4-3 in overtime. I'm curious from your perspective, how important are these rookie games to you and to the organization in terms of determining NHL readiness? Are they not that important? Are they important? Where do they fall on the spectrum in terms of, setting these guys up to have a shot to make the team out of camp?
Yeah, I think we hold a lot of value in these games. I think being able to come here and have the players also see kind of where their path might lead, playing right here at the PPL Center. So I do feel, though, you get to see kind of how guys, I guess their leadership qualities in that sense, because they're all coming in and they're all kind of new and kind of see who kind of takes control of a room. How they interact just around the guys and things like that. So I definitely look at it. We have so many prospects. We have half the guys that are college hockey players are not even here. So, the cupboard is definitely full. Danny was making a comment the other day about it. And I said, we have so many prospects. I don't think I'll be able to be sleeping at my house this year. I'll be on the road so much. So it's definitely good. And, busy, that's for sure.
Who are you seeing, maybe stepping up at this camp into a leadership role? I did see, in the first day, like Hunter McDonald was leading the rushes around the ring, things like that. He's obviously an older guy, but, is he one of them? Are there other guys that you're seeing, step up into that leadership role?
Yeah, Hunter, Ethan Sampson, they've played here before. Goach has been here before a couple of years now. So, but it's really cool to walk into the room and having a lot of our guys be able to come up and play games at the end of the year last year. And then also just being at development camp and other camps, they come in and they're already a team. Like they're already kind of poking fun at each other. They beat this team last year, and Alex Bumps making fun of Devin Kaplan, and it all kind of stems from all that type of stuff. So it's so cool to see how they all kind of mold their own way.
So the challenges of this role, you say you'd wear a ton of hats. This is a team with, as you just laid out, so many prospects. Flyers in the midst of a rebuild, looking to turn the corner. What are the challenges like with the team in a rebuild that you have in your role?
Yeah, I think it's the patience part, and a lot of people, fans included, they don't have patience and they start to wear thin. Trust me, I have no patience when it comes to my kids. It's like this. But when I go out here with the guys and they're slowly coming along, and you never want to rush a player. And I think we're in that spot right now where we don't have to rush anybody into a spot on the third or fourth line and put them, out of a hole where they're not getting those minutes or those puck touches. And it allows them to play here. And, those guys are slowly going to come up. And I think that's the biggest part. I know whenever Danny's talking or Jonesy's talking, they're always preaching that word. So it's definitely the biggest one.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it easier for you in your role when you're under a guy like Danny and Jonesy for that matter, although Jonesy's a little bit different personality-wise than Danny, but it seems like Danny does legitimately have that patient mentality, different than maybe the way he played on the ice. But as an executive, he really does have that patient mentality. Does that really filter down throughout the entire organization?
Yes. And he speaks about it a lot. We're always in talks and always trying to pick his brain. And I think it's good for me. I learned so much from him with kind of how he's handled stepping into this role and doing a whole rebuild as he stepped into it too, which I think is a pretty big task in itself. So, I think the biggest thing from it is having everybody on the staff being a part of it. I felt kind of before there might have been some areas of weakness in that, and I think we've kind of turned the corner in our staff too. Everybody's on the same page. We're all working towards the same goal. There's a plan for each player in place, whether they're in junior college, and I definitely think that goes from the top to the bottom. And Danny and Jonesy have done a good job building that.
Talking about last night's game, and this does tie into the patience debate or conversation. The big guy who got a lot of hype, understandably, out of this game was Denver Barkey. We just talked to John Snowden. He said, good chance he's not going to play in tonight's game just because I kind of like, what else does he have to show after how well he played last night? But, he's a guy where, maybe going into camp, most people were like, yeah, he's going to get time in the AHL. Then he plays a game like that, and people start thinking, is there a chance he could make the team? Like, is that where the patience has to come in, where you have to just take a step back and say what's right for him long-term versus, he just had this great game. Maybe we throw him in there for game one.
Yeah, I think it starts here, and it'll trickle into main camp, and then you put him in NHL preseason games, and then you see how he starts to do against higher skill, more NHL-ready players compared to what you're seeing out here. And you kind of see where his path leads. Right now, if he made it, that would be he would be ahead of schedule, I would say, of what I have planned for him.
Sure.
And I really do think taking the proper steps in a player's development and not jumping ahead and then, you go up. I always tell the players, because they're in a rush to get there too. And you always want a player to go up and then stay. You don't want a player to go up and then come back and then go up and then come back. And then it starts to kind of toy with them upstairs a little bit. And it's so important that the player's ready when he gets up there. He's now ready for those games. And, that's us talking to the players as well and having them see the big picture, not just the closed lens.
Big picture wise, like a coach, he is judged win and loss record. You see success, failure. Players, stat line. He scored, good job. For you in your role, what is success? Like, how do you evaluate yourself?
I think having, I want every single one of our guys to play in the NHL. Can every single one of these guys play for the Philadelphia Flyers? Probably not. We have so many prospects, but my job is to give all these guys an opportunity to play. And it might not be for the Flyers, but for me, when I look at it and I can go out and say, from our staff and say, hey, we helped, these 25 guys get there, and some are in other teams, and And we always have that relationship with those players, you know, and one day maybe they call and they say, hey, thanks, I appreciate that, you know, a little push here or there. But that's kind of where I see it is making sure each one of these guys are ready.
Kind of the flip side of that, because obviously in your role, you want to be supportive. You want to be, helping these guys. But, and maybe you haven't come across this too much so far, but how do you approach it when a guy isn't, doing the right things, that they aren't on the path that's going to get them to where they want to go? And maybe they think they are, but you can see from above that they're not. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, we do a lot of video calls with guys. We always reach out, and whether that's breaking down some film on them to say, hey, this is the player that I think you can be in the NHL. And then it's having them buy it, too. You got to be a little bit of a salesman. I think I'm pretty good at that. So I get some guys to jump on board pretty quick. But I think the other side of it, too, is also because we don't coach them when they're away on different teams.
Sure.
And it's always being in contact with their coaches as well. So when they go in for a meeting with their coach, I'm not telling them to do something and then the coach is telling them, they have that mixed message there. So it's always being in contact so that when I talk to them, coach talks to them, it registers hopefully upstairs that, they're saying the same thing. And then it gets them on board a little bit quicker.
One more question I had regarding yesterday's game. Obviously, we're up here, we're paying attention to the Alex Bumps, the Denver Barkeys, the big name guys, but all of these guys.
Yeah.
Who, maybe on the lesser known side, the fans maybe weren't paying super close attention to last night, but you were. Did you really like what you saw from last night?
Yeah, I like Matthew Gard. I know he played in a limited role there on the fourth line, but I think his size, his presence on the ice, he made tons of plays in all three zones. Very smart with the puck, and even when you're not getting the reps or the minutes of being on the power play and getting touches here and there like those other guys were that you mentioned, he was still able to just keep playing his game. And I definitely think when you look at the guys we've drafted, and I feel we're pretty weak through the middle. When you add all these guys, and plus being 6'5", they're all looking down on me like this, and I'm like this. But I think it's pretty cool for Gard to come in, and I'm excited to watch him play tonight.
All right, Riley, thank you so much for taking the time for us today. I know it's a pretty busy weekend, but we really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, Riley.
That is Director of Player Development, Riley Armstrong, joining us here at the PPL Center as we await puck drop on the second of the two Rookie Series games between the Flyers and Rangers prospects. And this is, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. Riley is he's got a really good personality. Honestly, I wonder if this is a little bit of the Jonesy effect. It seems like they're bringing in a lot of guys in management who are good talkers.
Yeah, we're actually getting content from our interviews, which is really exciting.
It's kind of great, actually.
It's really fun.
Some interesting things, though, in that one, and then we'll go to an ad break. But we can talk about this after the ad break.
Sure.
Did think that it was interesting that he didn't completely shut the door on Barkey taking a run at this. He was like, look, he's got
that would be wildly ahead of
it would be wildly ahead of schedule. But hey, if he does what he did last night in preseason games against NHL players, we're not necessarily going to say it can't happen.
And that's at this game, you have to always remember it is the rookie game.
It is.
They are out there against. It's not as if this is. 5-year NHL vets that they're up against, and I guess we do have to temper expectations. I guess I gotta call my buddy Riggs and be like, I don't know if he's Drew. Man.
Not sure he's Drew yet.
but we were just saying before we went live, though, aren't we due?
Yeah,
aren't we due for something good to happen?
You would think the Flyers are due for some good luck.
Yeah. All right. And with that, let's throw it to our next commercial. All right, if you have been watching this show for any length of time, you have heard me explain time and time again, I am terrible at handling money. It's just really, maybe I need a director of player development. It seems as if Riley is kind of setting up these guys to be adults. Perhaps that's what I need. But I have the next best thing. I have Monarch Money. Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It puts you in total control of your finances. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, links all your accounts in minutes, and you get clear data with visuals and smart categorization of your spending and real control over that money. And we promise you'll never need to touch a spreadsheet again. Don't leave money on the table. When you're making good money, it's easy to get a little bit complacent. You don't need to track every dollar. but ignoring your finances entirely can cost you. If you're not on top of your money, you could be missing chances to save more, invest smarter, or hit your financial goals faster. And Monarch helps you stay informed so nothing slips through the cracks. Monarch isn't just another finance app. It's a tool real professionals and experts actually love. That's why it was named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. For more information, just go to monarchmoney.com. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code PHLY at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHLY. While we're here talking about money, I got to tell you about our friends at TrueMark Financial, because sports fans, September's here, which means football's back, hockey's getting underway, school is in, and it's the perfect time to get your finances back in shape too. I've been checking in on my credit score lately, and let me tell you, if you're a member of TrueMark Financial Credit Union, you've already got a serious edge, because they have this free tool called Savvy Money right inside their online banking and mobile app. I use it myself, and seriously, it's like having your own financial coach right in your pocket. You can check your credit score anytime without taking a hit, get tips on how to improve it, and even get alerts if anything changes. That's what I call playing smart defense with your money. If you're already on Team TrueMark, fire up that app and check out Savvy Money today. If you're not a member yet, what are you waiting for? Step up your financial game, swing by one of their 24 branches, or visit TrueMark.com/PHLY to open an account. TrueMark Financial Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. All right.
Well, just talked a little bit about Denver Barkey.
We did.
Thought it was interesting that, again, and part of this too, and Riley Armstrong spoke to this, is, you don't want to close the door on any of these guys. He's managing people. And look, Denver Barkey probably knows on some level that it's unlikely he's going to make the Flyers out of camp, but he also doesn't want to hear the director of player development saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
He wants to know that, hey, if he goes out there and he's playing in four preseason games and he scores 3 goals, that he's got a shot, that it's not no matter what you do, you're not going to make it. It's, hey, it's the rookie game. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You were real good. Great job. But also you got a lot more to prove. But if he goes out there and proves it, Riley Armstrong's kind of like, hey, you never know.
And listen, that's the beauty of this time of year. It's it's like training camp. Hope springs eternal. Hope fall's eternal. Hope autumn's eternal.
Hope fall. Let's go fall's eternal. I feel like another interesting thing that I thought that I caught Riley saying, and it was a little aside, but it was interesting when he was mentioning about he thinks that now the organization, everybody's on the same page. Obviously didn't name any names, but it's worth noting that they have a new head coach at the NHL level. They also have a new coach at the AHL level. But look, the issues with John Tortorella at the end are well documented. That it's clear that Tortorella and Danny and Jonesy were not on the same page necessarily. I suspect that things like player development may have played a role in that. I mentioned, he's not on the team anymore, but I mentioned about Jacob Pelletier. I wrote an article about that in March, a few weeks before Tortorella was let go, about, hey, you trade for this guy, you got to at least see what you have in him, and Torts wasn't playing him, and when he was playing, he was giving him 6-7 minutes a night. You do suspect that, with Rick Tocchet as the head coach at the NHL level, and with John Snowden, who we just talked to, head coach at the AHL level, these are guys that this regime brought in. These are their guys. Seems more likely that from a developmental standpoint, the messaging is going to be more uniform and everyone's going to be more on the same page than they were before when you had holdovers from the previous regime running the two teams that you're trying to develop guys on.
It just makes sense that the guy who hired you gave you your marching orders. There's not a change of direction. There's not multiple things in your head. It just makes sense. All right. You know what else makes sense? Bringing in our AHL correspondent to talk about these rookie games here at the PPL Center. Now joining us, it is Maddie Campbell of PHLY and Broad Street Hockey. What's going on today, Maddie?
Not much. Just booked it up here, so I'm still becoming a person in this space. But glad to be here.
Maddie,
How are you
I'm
guys?
glad you found your way up because Charlie had to come get me. I was lost.
I did. I told Bill I'm at the media entrance.
You're here a lot.
And Bill's just like, media entrance? I'm just walking down 7th. That's all I'm doing.
I happened to run into where I was supposed to be, which was pretty lucky. But Maddie, you covered the game last night. You're here again today. We've spent a lot of time talking about Barkey. I thought Tuamalo and Bump stood out. What were your takeaways from last night's game?
I think Tuamalo was the big surprise for me. This feels like, to me at least, like it's kind of a make or break year for him, just in terms of finding his role in this organization in a pretty crowded forward group in the prospect pool. And I thought, I mean, we sort of joked about it, but not really joked, that this is the most physically engaged I've seen him maybe ever. Obviously, we still saw the offense coming together nicely for him, using his speed and everything, kind of the pieces that you would expect from his game, but throwing the body around is not something we've seen from him over the last couple seasons, and it was nice.
Yeah, it's not his natural game,
Yeah.
maybe, but, you know, as we talked, me and Bill talked about this before you came on the show, that, you know, Brent Flair, when I interviewed him a couple weeks ago, made it clear to me that, look, if Samu Tuamalo makes it on the Philadelphia Flyers, he's not playing above Matvei Michkov. He's not playing above Travis Konechny. If he's going to be a long-term Philadelphia Flyer, it's probably going to be lower in the lineup. And if he's going to play lower in the lineup, he's going to have some sandpaper. And what we saw last night, like, that shows me that this is a guy who wants to make it work here, because that's the kind of game he's going to have to play if he wants to get that promotion to the NHL level.
Absolutely. And we're still going to need to see some more from him. You know, throwing the body around is not the only thing you need to do to get comfortable in more of like a checking type role. But, you know, it's a good first step. So I'm pretty optimistic about where he's at heading into the season.
So early last night, because I have been singing the praises since last year's rookie game of Carson Bjarnason, and early last night it was like, ooh.
Yeah.
It seemed like he rounded into shape as the game went along, a little rusty. I mean, he's been on the ice with these guys short period of time. It really stands out when a goalie's got rust, because puck comes his way. It's 1-0. Like, oh, yeah, guy missed an assignment. No one notices. When the puck goes in, oh, goalie's fault. What did you think of Bjarnason last night?
I agree. He definitely seemed to settle in nicely as the game went on, but it was a little rough there to begin with. But, you know, it's been a really long time since he's played in a game. He hasn't been in since the WHL playoffs. He didn't get in for, well, he dressed but didn't play for the Phantoms.
Yes,
that's a long layoff. And, you know, you can practice, you can do your summer skates, but, you know, it's hard to replicate the game intensity, particularly for goalies. So it looks a little scary, but, you know, when you wind it back a little bit, you're like, okay, you know, he's going to need a little bit of time to knock off that rust, probably more than some of these other guys. So happy with where he was at by the end of the game. So I'll take that.
Yeah, and it sounds like, based on what he said after the game, he's going to get the first half of this one. I wonder if that was possibly a reaction to his slow start, where it's like, okay, you shook the rust off. We're going to give you a little bit more time. Also, one thing that just popped into my head, and I honestly forgot about this, because we talked about how Bjarnason was really good at last year's rookie games, and he was one of the most impressive guys. One thing that he had going for him last year is that he played in the Junior Summer Showcase. So maybe he wasn't as rusty in the rookie games, because he was really impressive at the World Junior Summer Showcase last year. Didn't have the benefit of that this year.
Yeah, a little bit more momentum last year for sure.
Anybody else that you would say stood out to you significantly in the game? I guess aside from the obvious ones, I think we can all agree that, you know, guys like Barkey and Bump were good. But anybody else pop to you?
I really liked Grebenkin's game. It seemed like he's a guy you kind of expect is going to look good in these types of games as a slightly older, more physically developed player. But, you know, I liked the pace he was playing with. I liked how he was getting himself to the front of the net and just sort of parking himself there. Like, he wasn't pushed off too easily by the defender. So he got a couple of really nice looks right in front of the net I made a note of. So I know he's a guy who seems like kind of has an outside chance on a lineup spot in, you know, coming out of camp. But I think he's in a good spot.
I would agree. I think he put himself in a good spot. Obviously has the dramatic game-winning goal.
Yeah.
He was great in interviews back in Voorhees on Friday morning. The Flyers have been posting clips of that on their social media. He just seems like a genuinely delightful person.
So delightful.
Just really, really funny and really outgoing and gregarious. Kind of moving towards, you know, more of a negative side, though, not for Grebenkin. Grebenkin was great. were there any players, because I tossed this question to John Snowden, and he dodged it, as one would expect.
Yeah.
Lappy usually would give you an answer. He would say, yeah, this guy, underwhelming. But were there any players in last night's game that maybe weren't terrible, but that maybe you wanted to see more of and you're maybe hoping played better today?
I think Kaplan had one really good shift setting up
the setup goal,
the goal, but I think other than that, he got a little lost for me, so I think I'd like to see a little bit more from him.
I was pretty impressed with Jack Nesbitt. Now, I thought they put him in a really good position. Alex Bump, NCAA player. We expect him to maybe make this team out of camp. And Samu Tuamala, veteran of the AHL. But I thought he did a really good job in his role last night. What did you think of Jack Nesbitt?
Pleasantly surprised, for sure. That feels a little bit mean. But
well, listen, we just were told, he's going to be a long-term project. He really needs to work on the skating. We're not expecting him to be a pro anytime soon. Certainly not on the fast track to the NHL.
Yeah.
And it's, okay, so this might be a little janky, and it wasn't.
Yeah, the skating definitely still needs some work,
well, yes,
but I agree, better than I might have expected to see in an actual game situation. He looked pretty good in the scrimmages, though.
He did.
Camp,
he did.
Right.
He played well very much at the end of the camp. Beginning of camp, when it was the drills, it was more obvious the skating because that's what you see. But then when game situations came into play, he scored the game winner in the I guess it was the 5-on-5 scrimmage. It was an overtime. He looked pretty good at development camp, I would say. And I liked what I saw from Nesbitt last night, and I'm hoping we get to see him again tonight. Seems like we will.
Yeah, I liked that line as a whole, so I would like to see a little bit more of it.
I noticed Hunter McDonald getting a little bit of time on the right side last night. Now, you cover the Phantoms much more closely. Maybe that's something they've been cross-training him to do. But did you notice that, and what did you think?
They haven't really had to use him on that side with the Phantoms, just like with the personnel that they have at their disposal. I thought he had a pretty solid game, though. I didn't notice him a whole lot, but he had a couple of nice sort of activations in the offensive zone that I remember making a note of, which is kind of the sneaky side of his game that I think we don't talk so much about. But I think he's got a little bit more offense than we maybe give him credit for. So it was nice to see that sort of coming out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, and obviously we're still waiting on final confirmation from this, but it does seem like, based on what Jackie Spiegel tweeted out a few hours ago, that Oliver Bonk might be back in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like the plan was to put McDonald with Bonk, and that would seem to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You let Bonk do more of the puck moving and more of the aggressiveness, and let McDonald focus on clearing the crease. Then obviously Bonk can't play, and suddenly McDonald's asked to sort of carry a pair. With, I think he was playing with Vluswick for a lot of the game. We're talking about a guy who is a late round pick just drafted. So I'm hoping we get to see McDonald with Bonk. Number one, because I want to see Bonk.
Yeah.
But also because I want to see what McDonald can do with a more developed player beside him.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask about the newest member of the organization, Tucker Robertson. I don't know if I had really any idea of what kind of player he was going to be. You look at his stats and through the AHL, you go, all right, this was kind of just Avon for him. We're going to swap guys, maybe change the scenery. But I thought he showed me a little more than I was expecting based on just like having looked at his elite prospects page.
Yeah. He had one play early on, I think, that kind of made me laugh, where it seemed like he got the puck and was skating it in, and it looked like he was waiting for somebody else to catch up. Like, he was going past the whole way. It's like, oh my God, don't make me shoot this. Like, you could see the panic forming. And I was like, that was a little dodgy, but I liked the rest of his game. He had that really nice setup on, I'm blanking on whose goal? One of the goals.
The Barkey goal.
The Barkey goal, yes. So definitely kind of evened out. But yeah, he's still a guy that I'm kind of figuring out also. I don't really know where he's going to fit in on this Phantoms team, but cautiously optimistic.
We talked about that, though, when we had our show. We were trying to figure out the lineup, and I think we were having trouble figuring out where Avon would fit.
Yeah.
And now Avon's gone, I think in large part because they didn't know where he'd fit.
Yeah.
But they bring in another guy who also they're going to have to find a place for him to fit. So
Yeah.
you're solving a problem maybe for J.R. Avon, but now Robertson has the same problem of how is he going to get games?
So we were talking with Snowden earlier, and just about the challenges of like yeah, there's some Phantoms out there, but you got a whole bunch of dudes who've never really played together.
Yeah.
Like, did you notice some disconnection last night? Like you mentioned I'm looking for a pass and there's nobody with me. Like, how prevalent do you think that was last night?
More early than later in the game, and I more felt like that was just everybody hasn't played a real game in a while, so they've got to kind of get their timing back. But yeah, I think the mix in development level and all that is going to come into play as well for sure. But I would be more willing to write that off as just rust.
Maddie, in the article you wrote for us this morning for PHLY.com, you went into a little detail about maybe not quite systems, but more just philosophy of John Snowden and the way he wants the team to play. I think our listeners probably would find that really interesting. Like, what did you see about what you think, and this probably goes into what you heard from Snowden at the press conference as well, about the way he's going to want the Phantoms to play and what hints of that maybe we saw last night?
Yeah, I think he really kind of mapped it out in that introductory press conference, but he wants his guys collecting the puck quickly, making a quick breakout pass or skating it out themselves. And they want to, play with pace through the neutral zone, get up ice with control. I think he made a pretty strong point about that post game is he wants controlled entries. Now, you're going to have to forecheck. You're going to have to chip it in sometimes. And I think they did a pretty good job of winning those battles, winning the races to those pucks, getting the retrieve when they needed to. But I think they looked their best when they were skating it in and getting their rush game going. So it seems like that's going to be a point of emphasis for this Phantoms team based on what he said, like we said. But it seems like they've got some personnel who can work well with that. So nice little preview for what we'll be seeing with the Phantoms, I think.
Yeah, this is not and I guess we'll see how the Phantoms roster ultimately shakes out with who makes the team, the big club, who doesn't. But this does not seem like a Phantoms roster that's going to be lacking for skill.
Absolutely. I was looking at the roster recently, and I think this is the most skilled roster that I've covered in however many years. Years.
How long have you been covering the Phantoms? It's been quite a while now.
Yeah, 5 or 6 seasons, I want to say. So, yeah, this is going to be an exciting year for sure.
So we talked about, we're expecting Samu Tuamala to stand out. We're expecting Bump to stand out. They did. Who do you think improved their stock? Like, you thought one thing of them last night, and suddenly it's, there might be a little bit more there.
I think it was, honestly, Barkey had kind of not that I wasn't expecting him to do well, but, it's a whole new level for him, pretty much. And he didn't play in the rookie games last year.
Not last year.
He had the mono last year?
Yeah.
He did play in the rookie games 2 years ago, and he was good.
Yeah, I think it was more of I didn't really know what to expect from him in this setting, and really pleasantly surprised me. Definitely a high compete game. So, he's in an interesting spot where, I don't know that he's going to be forcing anybody's hand in the main camp roster battles, but getting himself into a good spot heading into his first pro season, which was always going to be a pretty steep jump for him.
He has excelled at every level.
Yeah.
Every time we've seen him, no matter, maybe it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
What do you make of this blue line as a whole that we saw last night? There's a lot of different levels of, as you mentioned, guys different places in their development. Hunter McDonald got a full season and had a cup of coffee the year before, and Oliver Bonk, we haven't seen him yet. But overall, what do you make of the blue line, this group of prospects?
I think it was okay. Even Ethan Sampson, I made a couple of ooh type plays. I think they're probably the group that's a little bit being, having to fight off that we're such a mishmash here, more than the forward group. It sort of is what it is for me.
It kind of feels like the forwards, at least, we have pieces that fit, and we're figuring out. I am looking forward to maybe a little bit more cohesion now that some of these guys have played together. They have a game. They know where each other might be. Perhaps we'll see a little bit of that tonight. I think we're going to see a tighter game than we did.
Yeah.
That would make sense. And also, we've talked about this summer. the Flyers, the strength of the Flyers prospect pool now is the forwards.
Yeah.
You know, they have a few defensive prospects they're very high on. Obviously, they're very high on Oliver Bonk, and maybe that made the blue line core look weaker that the one guy who we were all
Sure.
excited about didn't play.
Yeah.
But beyond him, you know, you've got guys like Spencer Gill, Carter Amico's in college, so he's not here.
Yeah.
So it's not the deepest on defense anymore. They have a lot of youngish guys at the NHL level. You know, Emil Andre graduated. Cam York is still on the young side. So they it's not like they're old at the position organizationally, but it does seem like if there's a weak point in the prospect pool, it's probably the defense. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
I just want to say Luke Vlooswick a lot.
It's a great name.
That's really good stuff.
Fantastic hockey name.
So what are you focusing on tonight, Maddie? Like if you're obviously the game will unfold, you'll come up with an article. Right now, it's like in your head, I am writing about X.
Ooh, I want to see a bigger game from Alex Bump. I think like it seemed like he was getting some looks, but not the bounces just yet. I'd like to see some of them start going for him. Yeah, he needs to get it going, but like it would be nice to see him, you know, take another step in this game, really springboard into main camp with that momentum.
All right, Maddie, we really appreciate you making some time for us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I know we had to move your schedule around a little bit.
Thanks so much for being flexible.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you being versatile for us.
For sure.
All right, that
see
is
you guys around.
Maddie Campbell, our AHL correspondent here at PHLY, and of course. Maddie, what's your role at Broad Street? You're the managing editor, right? Managing editor.
Editor.
I wanted to say managing director, and I knew that wasn't right. The managing editor of Broad Street. I only worked there for like 5 years, That is Maddie Campbell. Read all of her stuff at BroadStreetHockey.com and, of course, at allphly.com. If you're not a diehard, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Charlie and I were talking before the show. Nobody covers this stuff the way PHLY does. We have Charlie here, Philly's #1 beat writer. We have our AHL correspondent here. We're doing a show live. We are bringing you the head coach, the director of player development. We're going to have Rob Brooks, the Phantoms owner, joining us in just a few moments.
That'll be fun.
We are hoping to get Patrick Sharp on the show. Like, come on. Be a diehard. It's that easy. And while you're at it, if you're not, okay, you're not looking to spend the money. I understand. Not everyone's a paywall person. Hit the like button. Hit the freaking like button. It's completely free. It costs you nothing. It takes less than a second. I can't imagine an easier way to support us than simply hitting the like button. Just do it. It makes us all feel good. You'll support us. And maybe think about donating to the Big Brothers, Big Sisters while you're at it. Do it right in that chat box. All right. And now we will be joined by the Phantoms owner, Rob Brooks, joining us. Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. This is really cool as we are awaiting puck drop for night 2 of the rookie series, 4th year in a row here at the PPL Center. How are you today?
Oh, doing great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's awesome to be here. Thanks for letting us do a live show prior to the rookie games, and thanks for everything you do for the Phantoms and for the Flyers organization. Just to kick it off, as Bill said, this has been a thing for quite a few years. How big of an event is this for you guys? I guess how proud are you guys that you're able to do this year after year?
It's great, and the way it all came about too is really neat. The American Hockey League, we have our governor meetings in the summer in Hilton Head, so we all kind of go there for a week, and we are encouraged to bring our families, and which is great because we get to meet each other and get to know each other more on the personal and the business level, but it also gives us time to just talk to each other and come up with ideas that can further our league and hockey too. And it was a time we were talking with the Flyers and Ryan Martin with the Rangers, and we talked about what happens at rookie camp, right? And the rookie games, and they said, wouldn't it be great if we could have that game in front of fans and have that experience for the guys, these young guys? And we were talking, and they knew, our building, of course, they both come, and so strategically located. We have a hotel here, and it's a nice setup, and our fans are great. And so we said this would be a great place to do it. And I think everybody's been really happy with the process so far. I know we are. The community really appreciates it. And and both the Rangers and the Flyers do too.
That's something I wanted to ask about because it's 4 years in a row, and it's not like you're alternating, with the Hartford Wolfpack or anything. It's here. Was that a negotiation of some sort, or is it just this is the convenient spot? It's a beautiful building.
It was all those communications, right?
Yeah.
It's those communications when we're talking and we're together and we come up with things that are good for our league and good for our players because it's strategically located for both teams, right? They can both get here quickly, both New York, right in the middle of New York City and Philadelphia.
Rob, wanted to ask you a question because I think this is something that a lot of fans don't quite understand about the Phantoms is that, a lot of fans look at it as like, oh, the Phantoms are the Flyers. And they're not. You guys are separate from the Flyers organization. You are an affiliate. But I was hoping you could just explain kind of how that relationship works because you guys obviously have the longstanding partnership with the Philadelphia Flyers, but you're not the Flyers. You're your own thing.
Right. We are our own thing. But we're part of the family, right? So we feel like we're part of the Flyers, right? So, we bleed the black and orange, right? So, I think, and it's always stemmed back from the beginning, right? We bought the team from the Flyers, right?
Sure.
And people ask us, how long have you owned the team? And because some people think it still is the Flyers,
Yeah.
right? And it's easy for me to remember how many years because, Peter Luco at the time sold us the team, and
Right.
we were having a press release here, a press announcement here, and my wife's water broke right when we were doing it.
Oh, wow.
He actually drove me to the airport on his way
Jeez.
back to Philadelphia. I made it just in time, so it's easy to know it's 16 years, and it's hard for a lot of people to believe that many years. So it's a great relationship.
Wow. Because because I grew up going to Phantoms games at the Spectrum. I was there the night they win the Cup in '98, and so I've always really loved the Phantoms. And in my head, they just moved to Lehigh Valley, like they were in Adirondack for a little bit, but it's been a while.
It's been a while, and we went up to Adirondack while the building was being built here, and but that was something that we're proud of too, because we helped grow hockey and keep hockey in that Adirondack region, and they still have hockey there today. So it makes us feel good to leave that legacy up there for them too.
So it's now been, as you mentioned, 16 years since you guys have owned the Phantoms. Some of your favorite memories from that time, whether it's players that have come up and become Impact NHL players, whether it's events you guys have had, what really sticks out in your mind as your favorite memories since owning the team?
Oh, there's just so many. It's what a project. The arena being built here it feels so good because it's revitalizing the downtown, the third largest city in Pennsylvania, right? This is the catalyst for revitalization. But on the hockey side, there's been so many great things and some relationships that you've carried through. You think of guys like Travis Sanheim, right? And how he played with us for parts of 3 years, and now he's the player he is, right? And one of the best defensemen in the league.
Might be at the Olympics. Yeah.
That's great. And if we feel we had a little bit to help them with that is great. And if you've been in the locker room and the different parts of the arena here, we want to help these guys reach their goals. And I think that, so when we see guys like that, and Scott Lawton had to, change his game down here and he changed it for longevity at the NHL, right? So that feels good. And then you see guys that maybe aren't with the Flyers anymore, like Stolars or Nick Cousins or Alex Lyon having success at the next level. And then seeing a couple of those guys raise the cup,
Yeah.
it makes you feel good, right? So, we care a lot about these guys and we want them to succeed.
Well, you have a new head coach. Now, it's not as if this is a brand new person. Snowden's been in the organization, but now he steps into the big seat. What are your initial impressions of John Snowden now that he's running the show in terms of coaching?
Snowy's great. And like you said, he's our assistant for the last couple of years, so we got to know him, and he's a good person. And we have a little bit in common with him, too. He cut his teeth in the ECHL like we did. And so you have to wear a lot of hats, right, when you're there. But he's a winner. He won at that level. He's a great person. He's a smart guy. He's strategic. And, what we love in our community is he lives here. His wife, his 3 kids, they live in our community year round. And they go to our schools. And Snowy helps out with the youth coaching, and he's helping to grow hockey in our community here. And that really means a lot. So we appreciate him.
So going into this season, we were just talking. We had Maddie Campbell on, our Phantoms correspondent. We're talking about the talent that you guys are going to have on this team. Now, we don't know the exact players. Some guys may make the NHL team out of camp. Some guys might not. But regardless, it seems like this team has some serious skill up and down the lineup. What are your expectations, for this season?
You're right. You watched the game last night and you see speed, you see skill, right? And it's pretty exciting. And so we're going to be a young team, right? Depending on who's here, but we'll be young. And we have some veteran leadership that help these guys. We probably have the best captain in the American Hockey League with Garrett Wilson. Young players love him, and he's there for them, right? He helps nurture them and protect them, and so I think we'll see what you see with a lot in this league. If you're very young, then maybe it kind of takes a little while to get going. But then when you do, these young guys they really they get used to this level, because this is a really good level here in the American Hockey League, and some don't know it until they play here, right?
So those are your expectations on the ice. I think a lot of fans very excited to get to see some Phantoms games this year. Off the ice, though, in the building, what are you excited to present to fans this season?
Oh, it's great. We always like to present some new things every year, and this year we have some extra new things, right? With a new coach, we have some new players coming in, some exciting talent, but we also have the video board and some of the visual new sound system and new food, beverage items, just things. It's so important. This building is such an asset for our region, and we have such a great region. But we want to make sure it's always current. So we want to stay on top of that. We're very proud of our fan engagement here. We love our fans, so we want to always produce the best fan engagement we can.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you engaging with us for a few minutes. It's always great to hear from the brass, and this was great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Rob.
All right, that was Rob Brooks, Phantoms owner, joining us here at the PPL Center. Just a little under 2 hours before puck drop.
Yeah.
Before game 2 of this rookie series game, and it's cool that this is its own organization.
Yeah.
That it's not a Comcast subsidiary. They have their own thing, but there is still such a collaboration with the Flyers. He said, we're part of the family.
Yeah, and they definitely are.
Yeah.
You have to be if you're going to be a successful affiliate, because you can't have two, the big club and the affiliate at loggerheads, or then that team isn't going to be the affiliate for much longer. The fact that it's now been, as Rob said, 16 years, it's clear that they work very well together, and he's very excited for the future, not just of the team, but of the team in Allentown and what it means for the city.
I didn't get the chance to ask if he could ever, just for one night, bring back Flex.
Love
Melvin. Love Melvin. It's just, I'm nostalgic for my childhood.
The nostalgia for Flex. That was a wild costume.
It was insane.
Wild.
But I do love it's still the Phantoms. It's still that awesome logo.
Yeah.
The branding was great from day one.
Oh, yeah.
And it's that has stayed the same for what was inaugural season 96, I think.
Sounds right.
It's been 30 years almost.
God, we're getting old.
I don't love it.
I mean, the first game I ever went to, first hockey game I ever went to, was a Phantoms game at the Spectrum. And probably in 1997.
Yeah, I definitely went to a few in the inaugural season, and then for my birthday the following year got the season tickets, and then that was all right, now I'm a Phantoms fan, I guess.
You're well, now I have a career.
I love it. Oh my God, is that the thing that got me?
Yeah, the Phantoms are what hooked you.
I am?
Well, I mean, your favorite player is Frank Bialowas.
Yeah, that's true. Just lunatics at the Spectrum, the place I got burned with a cigarette. That's the other thing. It's a much more family-friendly environment. It is not the. It's not like the Jerry Springer show it was back in the day. This is much more of a family. The prices were family-friendly back then, but now the actual presentation is as well.
It's not literally a madhouse like the Spectrum truly was.
People who are I want the bullies back, so I'm just going to go watch this cross between hockey and pro wrestling.
Honestly, yeah. Well, so were you when you started going to Phantoms games, were you already a big pro wrestling fan, or do those things kind of happen simultaneously?
Probably around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, like 9 or 10. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if this was a situation where you were already into pro wrestling. You're like, oh, this is the sport that's most like pro wrestling. I'm all in.
I guess the two things did happen simultaneously. That's something I should probably unpack at some point. So here we are, Charlie, and we've got about 15 minutes here left in the show. What is the thing tonight's game? Yeah, we watched last night. We talked about who we really liked. Who are you looking for to maybe change your opinion or step up after last night?
Yeah, I agree with Maddie. I want to see. We got the signature game from Denver Barkey last night, and we got a good game from Alex Bump last night. I would like to see the signature game from Alex Bump to really solidify his standing as the favorite of the prospects to make the team out of camp. It's not that I think he has to score a goal or two to solidify that place. The Flyers really, really like him, and he was good last night. But if there's something tangible behind it, it'll just seem like it's more possible that he can win his way onto the team rather than him getting through these rookie games with 0 goals and 0 points. And you're like, okay, well, he looked good by the eye test. I'd like to have some cold hard evidence to be like, no, this guy is real close to being ready. That would be fun.
I can't remember whose goal it was, but last night you talked about, okay, yes, player X gets goal, but it was the setup that was incredible.
Right, the Kaplan to Gaucher.
Setup. Yeah. And it was like, all right, sometimes you get a goal and it's the result of someone else's work and you were in the right place, and credit to you. Being in the right place is like half the game.
Sure.
But we saw a lot of doing the right stuff out of Bump. Now it's cash in, man. Like, we think you're an NHL player.
Yeah.
You showed you were as good or better than anyone out there, but we need you to put that puck in there.
And he had opportunities, to be sure. There were multiple times he got the puck in a scoring area, in a dangerous area, and either just missed the net or it got stopped. And
sometimes you get stopped. You don't score 80 goals.
Exactly. Yeah. But my point is that I think if he gets 3 or 4 of those opportunities again tonight, I have to believe he's going to finish on at least one.
And I appreciated John Snowden telling us, like, some of that stuff for him or anybody, it's like, it's day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have the feel for the puck that we will in January. When you have 4 goals in 5 games, it's because you're feeling it. It's because you're comfortable. And this is more, I am playing with 2 line mates I just met.
Yeah. I think the other thing I really want to see, and again, crossing my fingers, I really want to see Oliver Bonk again.
Yes.
I want to see him play. I want to see what he can do, because he did, like, to me, maybe more than anyone, like, he was the guy who popped to me on the first day of practice because he just looked so much bigger. He looked more assertive, and I want to see how that translates to game situations. And it's a good place to see it in a rookie game, because he might struggle in the preseason games just because he's against NHL players, and it's real tough to be a defenseman going up against NHL players, especially when you don't have a lot of pro experience. This would be the opportunity for him to really shine, to show that, the 15 pounds of Jersey Mike's muscles really are giving him an added boost.
You weren't there yesterday, but I actually, my guess as to why Bonk wasn't in the lineup was some bad Jersey Mikes. I'm glad that wasn't the case. I would hate to disparage the great name of anything with Jersey in it. I'm in.
That's fair.
I'm glad that wasn't the case.
Fair.
I hope he's not injured.
I was debating, because when I wrote the article about it, I originally framed it as like a local staple. And then I went back and I put quotation marks, because they're not really local anymore. They are a big company.
They have national commercials with Danny DeVito in them.
Yeah. But they got Jersey in the name.
Yeah, it's Jersey, baby.
So,
All right. Brenna tells me we actually have a super chat. So we want to get to that today. And it is Marco Belcher 5-hole. And he says, Brew Daddy's after the game. I'll buy you guys the first round. Brew Daddy's across the street, really good brewery. We were there.
Great pub. Yeah.
We were there last year when we had kind of a bigger event, when we gave away the tickets, did all sorts of stuff, and we had a meetup there. And it was the service, the beer, delicious. Everyone who worked there, super freaking nice. Ava and I ended up going after the game on night 2. They're like,
really?
Oh, you're back. I was like, yes, I want more of those beers. They're freaking delicious. So make sure you go and check that out. But I'll see you there, Marco. I'll see you there.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot I got to do. Maybe I'll be able to.
Charlie after games is still working.
Whereas, that's the problem.
Whereas
got to do a video, got to do an article.
Whereas I am done work in 10 minutes. Like, my day ends. And but it is not over yet. In fact, we have a pretty awesome guest joining us right at this moment. It is it is Patrick Sharp joining us. It is great to see you. Of course, Patrick Sharp, the special advisor to Hockey Ops, rejoined the organization a few years ago. There we go.
Are you guys pranking me here or something?
That is
What's
weird.
going on with this?
I do not know how that happened. Here, let me take a look.
We have the.
It's working. It's working. It's all good.
All right.
I might look stupid, but hopefully don't sound stupid.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Patrick, thanks so much for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, obviously, you are now working for the Flyers, but you, of course, had an illustrious career playing. Mostly not for the Flyers, but for a little bit with the Flyers. But it's really awesome to have you back with the Flyers organization. And I know Bill in particular has a lot of questions about your playing career.
I just really it fascinates me because Patrick Sharp, it's this name like you're the reason we're all afraid to trade young players.
Oh, right.
Like, do you feel? Like, but now you're a human being sitting in front of me, like. Do you know that you're the one who got away for us?
I don't
you
know
and
that.
Justin Williams.
I've heard that a few
basically.
times.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to mention Justin Williams.
Yes.
He was a good one as well. Maybe a few others, but looking back on that time, I did have a short time in Philly, but it was a very important time in my career. I played most of that era with the Phantoms, which was actually in Philadelphia in the same building with the Flyers, and I learned a lot. I learned how to compete every day. I learned how to be a professional. I developed from a third-round pick to eventually graduating to be in the NHL. And my last game with the Phantoms was hoisting the Calder Cup over my head. I learned how to be a champion. So I learned a lot of things that served me well later in my career. Probably sad for Flyers fans listening that it didn't happen here in Philly, but I'm back and I'm working with that same age group, that same time period in a lot of our players' careers, hoping to get those guys to become champions as well.
And did that, because what you always hear, from former players, from former Flyers, is
I figured it out.
There we go. Okay, is how special it is, being part of the Flyers family. And you maybe didn't play for the big club for that long, but even in that small period of time, did you feel it, and did that play a role into why you're back now?
Yeah, big time. I loved living in New Jersey, is where I lived during my Phantoms and Flyers era. I loved being a part of the Flyers organization. I definitely felt the family aspect of it all. I'll be honest, I kind of lost touch with it in the bulk of my career, playing for a different team in the Midwest. But reconnecting with Keith Jones at the NBC desk shortly after I retired, we talked a lot of Philly. It brought back a lot of memories. And now working in my third year with the organization, I definitely know what it's like to be a Flyer. Brad Marsh does an excellent job with our alumni, and he's got a quote. I'm not sure if it's his quote, but he uses it all the time, is once a Flyer, always a Flyer. And I think I'm a perfect example of that. Don't have a ton of games played with the Flyers, but I was drafted by this team, developed, and certainly proud to be one right now.
You mentioned being on the NBC desk and with Jonesy at that point. Remember watching those broadcasts, and I think the general consensus was, oh, yeah, Sharp has it. Why this instead of TV?
I missed it. I missed being a part of the team. I missed being in the fight. I missed being on the ice, really. Done a lot in the 6 or 7 or 8 years that I've been out of playing as far as my post-playing career. Spent some time at the broadcast booth, at the studio desk for both the local team in Chicago and then the national desk with NBC. Done some hockey management stuff, learned a lot from Danny and his staff, and continue to do that every day. But it feels like the longer I'm in this role, the more I'm drawn to being on the ice with the guys, and maybe behind a bench or in the role that I'm in right now as a development coach, as a mentor for these young guys. I'm really enjoying it. I love it. Learning a lot from Riley Armstrong, who's done a terrific job as director of player development. So I'm in a great spot. I think the team is in a great spot. The game yesterday was a good example of that. I got the lineup from yesterday just looking at it when you compare it from a couple years ago when I was at my first game. The team and organization has done an excellent job of kind of stocking the cupboards, and there's a handful of guys that aren't on this team right now that could be. They're playing elsewhere. So it's an exciting time for Philly, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
So you mentioned, you went into a little detail about what you do for the Flyers, but your title is Special Advisor to Hockey Ops, and that is an incredibly vague title when people look at it. It could be anything.
I like the special part.
There you go. But I'd love it if you would go into some detail of what specifically your role is and where you fit into the puzzle here in the front office.
Yeah, I think day one, the idea was just join the organization and kind of have a broad title that encompasses everything, and that's what it's really been the first couple years. Was I got a chance to learn a little bit of the amateur scouting side from Brent Flair. Talked to a lot of our pro scouts about their daily role with the team. Former coach, Coach Torts, gave me a great opportunity to hang around his group with the NHL guys. Same thing with Lappy here in Lehigh. And it seems like I've landed with the player development group under Riley Armstrong. And it's been fun. It's been a blast. I enjoy working with those guys, with the staff, but I really enjoy seeing the young kids come to Philly and have the wide eyes, and they just want to wear that logo and play in the NHL. It's their lifelong dream. I can relate in every single way. It feels right. It feels natural, and I'm having a great time doing it.
So is that a lot of like relationship building on your side?
Yeah,
kind
sure.
of being the shoulder they can lean on when they're struggling and pump them up when they're doing well, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I live in Connecticut, actually. That's where my wife is from. So it's about 3-hour drive from Voorhees, where the training facility is. A little over 3 to get here in Allentown. So any given week, I'll be in either building, or I might just be anywhere in North America tracking one of our prospects. We got a few guys playing in Boston at Boston University. We got another one at Harvard. We got a bunch in the Midwest at Michigan State. We have Noah Powell at Arizona State. I bring him up because I'm more than willing to go out to Arizona and visit him a few times. But take these guys out for lunch, watch their games, break some film down with them, but basically be a big brother to them, a mentor, and kind of prepare them for what's coming next.
Did your experience being, having short time in the NHL in this organization before going to Chicago, being with the Phantoms, does that experience kind of inform how you build these relationships? Like, do you wish you had a you back then?
Yeah, I kind of did. It was the head coach, John Stevens, at the time. He had a number of hats that he had to wear as the head coach. It's since kind of evolved from then that we got a lot of guys that are willing to help out, and we have a big staff. But he was a guy that I would say was very hard on me for a reason. I think he saw the potential in me, and he realized a few things that I needed to do to reach that potential. And I have a lot of positive, great things to say about him and how helpful he's been in my individual career. So, yeah, it would have been nice to have Chris Stewart and Riley Armstrong and Sammy Moe and all these great guys, Wayne Simmons hanging around, telling stories and helping me out. But 25 years ago, it was John Stevens and some great leadership on the team as well.
Do you think that because going back to your career, and you're certainly not the only one who falls into this bucket, but you obviously had a fantastic NHL career, and so did a lot of the guys in the development staff that you guys put together. But it wasn't necessarily linear.
Mm-hmm.
You had even somebody like John LeClair, who's in U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. Like, it took him time to become John LeClair. Does that help you guys with these young players that, it wasn't necessarily that, you got drafted first overall and we're a superstar right off the bat,
right.
that it took some patience, it took some trial to get to where you got to, and then you can say, but hey, it all paid off when I was lifting the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the people on the development staff right now, we just kind of added Mark Recchi quietly. In the middle of the night, and you look at his stats, he's got 1,500 points, top 10 all-time in the history of the game. What a great wealth of resource and knowledge we have from him. John LeClair, USA Hockey Hall of Famer. Sammy Moran has a story to tell. First-round pick, career derailed from some injuries. He's got a lot of knowledge that he can spread to the young kids on the team. Chris Stewart played a role in the National Hockey League, a tough one. He had to fight every day of his life to stay in the league and had some great years, did what he could to be a great pro. Wayne Simmons has another story to tell, and I think I have one also. It wasn't always Stanley Cups and great seasons. It was a lot of time of doubting myself and wondering if it was all worth it. But at the end of the day, I believed in myself. I had a great group surrounding me, and that's what we're trying to do with our young guys now.
All right. the power play.
Okay. All right.
No,
That's why I'm here. Now you're going to hit me.
You had an awesome career. Fix the freaking. No, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you making the time to inform all of our listeners about what it is going
There's
on.
our
in New
guy
York.
right there,
Yes,
Riley
there's Riley.
Armstrong. He's the man.
Yeah.
He's keeps it fun every day at the rink. I'm laughing every day I'm around Riles. He does a great job with the kids, and he's jealous of me right now because I'm on camera. I know he wants to be on
He
here
was
right
on
now.
camera with us.
we had him earlier.
Oh, boy.
It's true. It seems like it's a really good culture in this organization. It seems like it's fun to come to work every day, and it's making it fun to cover the team.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. We're having fun doing what we do, so look forward to seeing you guys around.
I
Absolutely.
really appreciate you taking the time
Thanks
today.
so much,
Thanks,
Matt.
guy.
That is development coach and special advisor to hockey operations, Patrick Sharp, joining us. And he won, like 3 cups along the way.
He did pretty well for himself.
Calder Cup during the lockout. That was an NHL team on that ice. That was insane.
Kind of was.
I do want, that is, they win it in the lockout.
Yeah.
Do you think it's totally different if that never happens? Like, he has his breakout
Ooh.
and he's in the NHL, like...
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't have a time machine.
There's no.
Maybe it would have played out the same way, but yeah,
we don't have access to the alternate universes. So.
No, but thinking back, that team, yeah, that was, and we were all starved for hockey. So everybody, I grew up a Flyers fan. I was I wasn't even in high school yet for that team. But yeah, we had nothing else to watch. Of course, we're going to watch that team.
That was it, and that's pretty much it for us today. I do want to hit a couple of things. I mentioned the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America just a few minutes ago. But if you have a couple of dollars that maybe you usually put towards our super chats or, your daily cup of coffee, why not donate it to a great cause? You can do it right there, right below the chat box. Or, as much as they need your money, they need your time as well. If you have the time and inclination, go to bbbs.org. Look into becoming a big brother, big sister. If you think you could serve a role as a mentor in a young person's life and just give them that little bit extra, whether it's mentor, friend, teacher, whatever it is someone might need, if you think you can do it. Listen, we just talked to a whole bunch of people who are basically playing mentorship roles in the Flyers organization. Maybe you want to do that for not a professional hockey player, but someone who could use just a little bit extra attention in their life. bbbs.org. We would greatly appreciate it as we celebrate Big Brothers, Big Sisters Month here at PHLY and all across ALLCITY. I also want to tell you about the Supporters Club. You got to check out the Supporters Club, whether you do the $5 a month tier, which gets you all sorts of fun stickers and emojis for the chat, and you get a badge next to your name, basically a badge of honor, being one of the first... I'm calling it DieHard for YouTube members, one of our first Supporters Club members, or you go for the VIP level and we're going to be producing all sorts of behind-the-scenes footage, vlogs we're going to post just for supporters and experimental content. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have a good time this season, as will all of our beats. Check out both of those things. I think that just about wraps it up, Charlie.
Yeah, hour-and-a-half show, had a ton of guests. This was a really good time. And hopefully we'll have a good time watching the game in about an hour and a half.
Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of PHLY, and we are kicking off the next however many years here at the PPL Center. Hope you enjoy watching the game. It'll be streamed on the Flyers website again, I assume.
Yeah.
They did it yesterday, so why wouldn't it be again today? So make sure you check that out. And make sure you hit that freaking like button.
Hit that like button.
Follow us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. Set that reminder bell so you get notifications whenever we go live. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter. And follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. That is it. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.